Hey guys, welcome back to Snack Time. My name is Ben, and in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at BrickTracker. So, just in case you can't tell, I enjoy Legos, and one thing that I like to do is to make sure, that I have all the pieces that I need, right? Or maybe I want to take two different sets and combine their pieces and know exactly just kind of what kind of bricks that I have. And there's a lot of people out there that are way more into Legos than I am. And I think this next open source project that I'm going to review is definitely geared towards them. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to show you the platform. And then after that, I'm going to show you how to install it on your own server. And I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks on how to get this in there and functional and protected the way that you may want it. So if we jump into the site, the very first thing that you will notice when you are going to the site is there's no prompt for a username and password. It's not really meant to have like credentials, I guess. It's mostly just for you to track your own personal collection, not like offer a service or something. So this uses a couple of different things. It uses a Rebrickable, and so one of the things that we'll be talking about is signing in and signing you up to get an API. Rebrickable is really cool because it interfaces very well with this platform, and this is where it gets all its data from. And also, if you're looking to find and buy like a Lego set, it's also a great resource too. I'll show you the wish list here in a second. So one of the very first things you do when you hop in here, I added a couple of sets on my own, but when you first jump in, it'll be blank. And so we'll go ahead and add a new set. You can search as well here for different set numbers, and that's this little number right here. It's also the little number that you'll see like on most of your manuals or even outside the box. So I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, so that's the number that we'll plug in. So say we're searching for that set. Let's see if we just type that in here. So nothing's going to come up because we don't have that in our library. We could add it to our wish list, but let's do that a little bit later. Let's add a set, and then let's punch in this little number. It's 75239, and that's for the trash compactor for Star Wars. So what it's going to do is it's going to go out to Rebrickable, and it's going to download all of the images for the different pieces. It's going to download, what kind of bricks should have been in the box. And whenever you purchase something new, we can actually verify, hey, all the bricks were there, if you want to go to that kind of level of detail. So you'll really be able to track almost every single piece of Lego brick that you have. I'm probably not going to do that, but I mean, I'm sure that there's some people out there that really need to know that information. This is going to take a little bit of time, so we'll hop back here in just a second. Cool, so we are done. And now we have the Death Star trash compactor diorama, as well as our hamster playground and our Death Star. By the way, I do not have the Death Star, so unfortunately, I wish I did. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can be like, okay, well, the set is checked. I checked all the pieces and I have everything. And I can say the set is collected and boxed. So maybe it's like, I have a couple of them that I haven't taken out of the box yet. I can check that. Or if it's missing any pieces, you can also check that button too. And what you'll do here is if you want to see all of the pieces that are typically included with this set, check this out. So if you click on this guy, this will show you literally like everything that is included. How many pieces, how many of these 1x2 bricks are supposed to be in there? It's supposed to be like 4. You can say, oh, well, man, that sucks. I have 3 of them. And so, oh, we're missing some. So that would kind of stink. Thankfully, I haven't run into that yet. But if we keep scrolling down, it'll show you the bricks. Yeah, and it breaks out the actual figurines too, which is kind of cool. So if we keep on scrolling, I'm going to go a little quicker. Check it out. So here are our minifigs and little mini figurines. So in this collection, I got a C-3PO, I got a Chewbacca, and I got a Han Solo, a Luke Skywalker, a Leia, and R2-D2. So I should have all of these pieces in my set. So I know what is in my inventory based off of just what is supposed to be in the box. And if I checked it, then, then cool, I definitely know I have it. So next thing you can do is if you are missing pieces, like say, let's do this. Let's say I have 2 of these and I have 1 of these. Let's see, if I click on missing pieces, it'll show me which ones I'm missing, which is kind of cool. Can I do anything with that though? I guess it just tells you, hey, you're missing these pieces. Maybe you want to look at acquiring them from somewhere. But that's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. And let's say, no, I'm not missing those, not missing those. So I can go to all parts. Oh, I can jump to the figurines too, like the minifigs. I can click on this button up here at the top and it'll take me right there. So that's cool. So like say if I go home and I go to the Death Star and I want to see all the figurines that come with this. I click that button and there you go. There's all the different ones. That'd be cool if I had the Death Star. I don't. So if you're looking for some Christmas idea for me, let me know. So since I don't have this, I'm going to remove this from my collection. So I'm going to hit delete here at the top, and then I'm just going to say, yeah, go ahead and delete that. So that removes that from my collections. After that, we have, obviously we can go to our missing pieces and see all the missing pieces that we have across all of our different collections. We can click on parts, and this will show us all the parts we have from all the different Lego sets that we've collected. So the part number and as well as the element ID. I think if we click on the part number, yeah, it'll open up BrickLink, and we can actually purchase them. So that's cool. And we can see all the different colors. So that's awesome. So that'll help you if you say maybe you bought a Lego set secondhand, then you can replenish your missing pieces. All right, so let's go back home. After that, we have minifigs. So how many figurines do we have across our entire collection? So this is all of them. To that we have, this is cool, the wish list. So I got this. I'm going to remove this from my wish list. Check this out. Let's come up with a hang on one second. I'll be right back. All right. So say for instance, I wanted this cool little the droid on top of this other droid, and I don't have him, but I wanted to add it to my wish list. Well, all I have to do is punch in the number, and I can keep track of the ones that I want. So I submit that. And it goes through and it finds it and it says homing spider droid. Cool. So if I'm looking for that and I want to see if that's out there anywhere, check this out. We can click on the ID here, and this will take us to BrickLink, and this will show us all of the people that are selling this set. So maybe I want to be like, okay, well, that's cool. I'm going to buy it for $2.77. I can click there and I can add it to cart, and I can have it shipped to me. And now I don't have to search around for it. I can just use this site. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I don't need that set, but he's strong. After that, let's click on config. This is just telling us how many sets we have, what our inventory looks like, how many minifigurines we have, how many missing, and these are all the files that we have downloaded. And if we want to, we can delete our database and wipe everything. Let's go back. You can upload files too. You can upload some, if you have a PDF for some of your sets and you want to add that to your collection, maybe like an assembly guide or a manual, you can do that here as well. And it tells you exactly how to name those guys. So just basically, it really relies on that number being accurate. And so I don't have any manuals. I have them all kind of physical, but if you had PDF, you could put them that way. So we have a couple of other options up here at the top right. Let's take a look at them. So if you only wanted to show the collected in box, which is what we're seeing now, that's kind of our default view. But if you wanted to view them a little differently based off of the checkboxes that you have over here on the left, then that's what we're going to do. So say you only wanted to see the sets that you have checked for missing pieces and you verified everything is good. So you could check that. You click that right here, and that will get rid of that one because I've unchecked it. It said, you know, we didn't check for missing pieces. So if this is unchecked, then that will go away. So next up is, you know, the ones that are complete sets without missing pieces. All these have, you know, have these two check boxes, so they're going to show up. And then we have, you know, missing instructions. So let's just go back to collected and boxed. Next up is our theme. You would think that might be for the website, but it's not. It's the theme of the Lego collections. So if I wanted to only see my Star Wars themed Legos, I click Star Wars here, and on the left hand side, the Friends one went away. And same thing if I went for Friends. So if you want to see all of your Star Wars stuff, you can. It's just an easier way to sort through it and kind of get a good visualization. So I'm going to go back to Show All. Next up, you know, sort by ID, year, parts, theme, and name. It's kind of all self-explanatory. So my next thing for you is going to show you how to install this. I used Nginx Proxy Manager, but the problem is, since this doesn't have any sort of authentication, anybody can hop in here and start adding whatever they want to my collection or modifying it, and that's probably not good. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to set this up. I'm going to show you how to set it up so that it just lives on your local network. And then I'm going to take it an extra step. I'm going to show you how to set it up with Nginx Proxy Manager, but I'm going to show you how to add a username and password to this, as well as limit it based off of IP address if you want to. Totally up to you. But if you want to be able to access your collection from outside of your home, then that's where this is going to be really helpful for you. Let's jump over the installation, and I'll see you there in just a second. So welcome to the installation portion of our video. Hope you're excited to get started. We are going to need a couple of things. We're going to need to have Docker installed and configured. We're going to need Portainer and Nginx Proxy Manager, although that last one is optional. I'm going to show you how to do it both ways. So let's start off at the Baerentsen.space/Frederik Baerentsen. That is the author of this project. He also has done a bunch of different projects too that you might be interested in, but we're just going to stick with BrickTracker for now. So as we scroll down, definitely if you find this useful, consider buying him a coffee. But we do have a couple of prerequisites. One of those ones I already discussed, which is Docker. And we also need a Rebrickable API key. In order to get that, we're just going to go to Rebrickable, and we're going to sign up for an account. Once you sign up for an account, it will be under your account here, and you'll be able to get the API key really simply. Let me show you how we're going to do that. And I'm just going to go ahead and sign into my Rebrickable account. So once you have signed in, simply go to Account and Settings, and then API. And then you'll be able to generate your new API key, and you'll be able to see how often you use it. There's no charge for this. It's 100% free. And as long as we're not hammering away on it, it's probably going to continue to be free. So we do have our API key all set up. Let us grab that real quick, and let's take it and put it in a notepad somewhere. All right, since we have that now, we can proceed down the list and start to set up our server. So I'm going to kind of skip past some of this because we are going to be using Portainer. So you don't need to go through and do all the Docker compose, up, D, unless you really want to. I mean, if you want to use the command line and it makes you feel extra nerdy, that's totally up to you. I am going to be taking this Docker compose file and I'm going to be putting it into Portainer, but I'm going to be making some changes to it. So I don't know if you noticed at the top here, it did ask you to set up a .env file. I'm going to be using that a little bit, but I want to show you some strange things that I ran across. Might be just a typo, and I'm sure it'll probably be fixed eventually. So let's do this. I'm going to copy the Docker compose file, and let's hop over to Portainer, and let us go to stacks, and let's create a stack. Add a stack. I'm just going to be calling this a BrickTracker. I'm going to paste my compose file in, And I'm also gonna, let me jump back here real quick. I'm going to grab the env file. I copy this and go back to Portainer, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on this little button right here, this advanced mode, and I'm going to paste it there. All right, so if you've ever seen any of my other videos, I like to break down the Docker Compose file so you know exactly what it's doing. So if you ever need to fix anything or make any changes, you kind of have a good idea as far as what you want to do. So let's do this. Let's zoom into this file and let's start from the very top. So it's going to be called BrickTracker is the container name. It's going to have a restart policy, which is good. So unless it's stopped, it will restart if the host machine is rebooted. Next up is the image. This is where it's going to be pulling the image from. That's the host name, and this is the folder as well as the project, and then colon latest means that if we do update it, it is going to pull the latest version of the software. So next up is our ports. And if you are going to be just running this on your local machine or on a computer on your network, then feel free to leave these uncommented. But I'm going to also walk you through how to set this up with Nginx Proxy Manager so that you can access it when you're out in the world and you want to access your collection. But we'll also be covering later on added security to that. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and comment out these two guys for me. And if we scroll down a little bit, this is putting all the files in a specific folder under .static. And what I like to do is I like for Portainer to manage my volumes whenever possible. So I'm going to just remove this .static and just leave parts. And that will let us make a volume just called parts, and we'll know exactly where it is. I'm going to do the same thing for instructions, same thing for sets, and the same thing for minifigs. So I'm not going to do that for the app database because right now it's specifying a certain file on your host machine. And if I said, okay, call it this, and then let's say I'm gonna make it a DB folder, and I'm just gonna put just this right here. Well, this isn't gonna work, it's going to fail. So you would end up coming back here and just removing this part. But what we end up running into then is everything that's under that app folder is going to be under here. And that includes the application file. So when there's an update, it's going to be harder for you to get the update without going in there and removing the old ones and rebuilding. So we're just going to leave this pointing to a specific location on our host machine. Instead of letting it put wherever it wants to, let's do this. Let's put it, let's remove that period and let's add /home/snack and then / let's say BrickTracker. So I'm putting it in my home folder. So now I know exactly where the database file is. So if I need to back it up, I know where to back it up. All right, so moving on down the list here. This makes reference to your Rebrickable API key, but it says put your API key here. Well, that's kind of weird because we also have the environment variables down here at the bottom that are asking for the API key. And that's because the way it's set up here is it's not actually pulling from the data down here. So that means we kind of don't need the environment file at all, especially if we're not making reference to it. You could tell if it was making reference to it. So say it was set up like this. So it was set up, instead of where it says your API key, it had $, brackets, and then it referenced this value down here. That would mean that it's looking for the environment file and it's looking for this value under the specific field. But since it's not doing that, we kind of don't even need the environment file at all. We can put all of our information just up here and it's going to end up in the same space. If you do want to keep the environment file, then just kind of do what we're doing here. Add a $, a bracket, and then just do the same thing for domain name, links, and random, and should be good to go. But we're not going to do that. Instead, we are going just to remove this and we're just going to put our API key. So I'm just going to make one up for now. ABC, DFG, blah, blah, blah. And now we have our domain name. So I ran into issues with this. I don't see where it was actually necessary, especially when it comes to running it locally. And I just ran into issues with it. So I am just going to nuke it out of there. Links I'm going to leave as true. Random I'm also going to leave as false. And I'm going to remove these this environment variable down here at the bottom. Switch back to simple mode. All right, so what we need to do next, that it's not included in this compose file, is we need to establish our volumes. So we do have some volumes that we've set up here. And so let's go ahead and establish them so that Portainer knows to create them. Because if you run it like it is now, it's just going to error out. So let's do this. I'm going to do volumes, then colon, then enter, and I'm going to tab a couple of times. And I'm going to say parts. And then put a colon. I'm going to do the same thing for instructions. I'm going to do the same thing for sets. And minifigs. And don't forget the colons. Never forget your colon. Okay. All right. So that's all we have to do. Let's scroll down and let's deploy. All right, we are all deployed. We didn't specify a network, so that means Portainer went ahead and set us up our own network for BrickTracker. It also did the same thing for, see, there it is right there. It also did the same thing for our volumes. Let's jump back to stacks and BrickTracker, and let's check our logs. And I don't see any errors, which is good. It does say it's listening on 333, and that is correct. It is listening with inside of our container on that port. But what we need to do is, in order for Nginx Proxy Manager to communicate with that container, we need to make sure they're on the same network. Let's go under Nginx Proxy Manager, scroll all the way to the bottom, and let's drop down our network, hit BrickTracker, and click on the join button. If we did everything correctly, we should see at the bottom here that we have joined the BrickTracker network and we have gotten an IP address. All right, now that we have configured everything there, we need to set up our subdomain, and we need to set up Nginx Proxy Manager and add a sprinkle of security. If you have decided just to do the local installation, well, you're done, man. Just pop open to this IP address or whatever your IP address is, colon 3333, and you should be presented with your page. So nice job. But for the rest of us, we are going to soldier on. Let's do advanced networking, and I'm going to add a DNS record on my domain Senhow for my BrickTracker. I'm going to add a new A record. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make this a BrickTracker, and I'm going to use the IP address of the external IP address of my server. Helps if I copy and paste. And I'm going to save these changes. All right, that is done. That's the easy part. Let's go to Nginx Proxy Manager next. All right, and let's add a host. All right, I'm going to call this BrickTracker.senhow.com. That's the subdomain and the domain that I set up. Now it's saying, where do you want to forward the traffic to? Good question. I don't remember what the name of that container was. Let's jump back to Portainer. Looks like it's just called BrickTracker. Let's go back to Nginx. Paste that here. And we should remember what our port was. Just saw it a second ago. 3333. That is the internal port that the container is expecting to hear traffic from. All right, so let's go ahead and block common exploits, and let's enable WebSocket support. And the next thing that we're going to do is we want to add a little bit of protection. So we are going to be setting up a access list. So let's go under our access lists and let's make a new one. Let's zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to call this BrickTracker. You can call it whatever you want to. I mean, you don't even have to reserve it specifically for BrickTracker. This just could be an access list that you set up for your, whatever services that you have that need this extra protection. All right, so I'm going to satisfy any. I'm going to go to authorization. I'm going to type in a username and password that I'm going to use to authenticate to get on to my BrickTracker. I'm just going to use BrickTracker and a Legos Rock 1 2 3 exclamation point. All right, so I'm going to add. Always do that. Don't click add. You think that would be obvious, right? BrickTracker, Legos Rock 1 2 3, and I think we can hit access. Yeah, it saves it. It hit access, and now it's saying, by default, we're going to deny everybody. Who do you want to allow? Well, for us, we are going to do everybody. So I'm going to put 0.0.0.0/0 and save. That should let us sign in to our new website with a little bit of protection. So we're going to be allowing any of these to be successful, specifically our username. All right, let's jump back. And I don't think you need to zoom in too far, but let's do this. I'm going to go back to proxy hosts, and I'm going to at least add some security to this, some encryption to my traffic. So I'm going to click on the little 3 dots, go to edit, and let's go to SSL. Let's drop this down and request a new one. I'm going to force it, and I'm going to agree with the terms of service. Boom. All right, so hopefully if we did everything correctly, we should be getting a certificate from Let's Encrypt. And then when we try to go to our web page, it's going to prompt us for a username and password and should hopefully let us in. Let's try it. All right, so come on, demo gods. Click on this guy. No. So why is that? Let's find out. Let's jump back and let's check out our access list. And just remembered what it was. We established an access list, but we didn't apply it to the host. Well, it's not going to just read my mind. So let's click on edit. Let's go to our access list right here. So it's saying publicly accessible. Wrong. BrickTracker, correct. Save. We should be able just to go back and go right to that site. All right, so let's go to BrickTracker. There we go. Bingo. All right, let's try this. Bob. Incorrect. BrickTracker, Legos Rock 1 2 3. All right. You can save our password if you want to. Nah. So there's our site, and we protected it. Whereas it didn't have a username and password before, it does now. And you can add multiple usernames and passwords just clicking on that add button. Just make sure you don't click it after you've already entered your credentials, or you're not going to have a good time and you have to type it in all over again. So let's do this. Let's add our first collection, make sure it's going to work. Make sure I didn't just do something wrong. Let's do, I'm going to do add 75077. That's going to be our droid on top of our spider droid, and it looks like it's getting the images, which is cool. That means it's talking with our API. Here in a second, there we go. There's my homing spider droid, and he's perfect. He's already put together. I'm going to click on him, and see my minifig right there. Got me a little droid. Little battle droid. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did find it helpful, and if you are a big fan of Legos and you think you're going to actually use this software, please let me know. I would love to know that. And If you have any Legos that you think I should look into, please don't tell me, because I got like a bunch of them that I still need to put together. So hopefully as these videos progress, you'll see those boxes back and then behind me disappear, and in place of them will be the actual assembled Lego. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap it up for now. If you guys have any questions, any comments, again, don't hesitate to leave them down below. That's what I'm here for. And happy to help you guys out. I will see you in the next video. You guys take it easy.